Today we will be surviving in medieval RimWorld for 100 days as a cyborg. Yes, that is correct, we are going to be a half-man, half-killing machine from the future, probably, and we're going to be fighting off medieval peasants. Seems fair. But just look how cute he is with his cold, dead, unfeeling mechanical eyes. I'm sure his heart's in the right place. Speaking of which, it appears to be bionic as well as many of his other body parts, including a minigun arm. I'll let you guys take a quick look at his stats as well as his traits and what he's incapable of. We also don't have any gear or resources to start with. Because of this, we're going to need to cut down some great mighty trees to turn into toilet paper so I can wipe my robot ass. So after we got done defiling nature's beautiful creations, we used the tree carcass to begin building ourselves a small, quaint little cabin. And just like that, the cabin was finished. We were laying on the nice, cozy dirt and stone floor, and day zero was coming to an end. But unfortunately, day zero comes to an end without us being able to slaughter and or enslave any of the medieval populace just yet. I was very sad about that. With that being said though, we woke up the very next morning, went out, took some berries off a bush, and had ourselves a little bit of breakfast. Yummy, nutritious. Not. We need some protein, damn it, but where can we find— Oh, hello there, puppy. So we decided to use our minigun arm to pet the wolf in the face several times before it eventually died. Did I say die? You know what, I'm not gonna sugarcoat this shit. We killed that wolf, baby. Survival of the fittest. We're gonna chop it up and eat it. We then built a drying rack to dry out the wolf's hide, and then we began work on a small garden just before a visitor came to, well, visit us. Now this visitor, who is named Regina, was not only coming to visit, they also had several items to trade, which was amazing. The only problem is we didn't exactly have money. Luckily though, we were able to negotiate. Oh no, oh my gosh, what? She died. But hey, look at all this cool new stuff that we have. As it turns out, she wasn't even dead. She was just fatally wounded. Oh well, now she's dead. But don't you tell anyone. Anywho though, we continued our medieval journey. We began building a storage building for all the brand new items that we have. Just after this though, we ended up getting our very first raid from the blue— Oh wait, I can't read. Luckily for us though, the raider was simply one peasant with a pitchfork, easily destroyed by our killing machine. Or so I thought. Looks like when God made this fella, he forgot to put in the quit. But that's nothing that a few swings from a mace can't fix. That sick freak even started burning our crops. Luckily though, we were able to put those out, and we even began work on a dining hall. Unfortunately though, the peace would not last, as we got a raid from House and Boys. It was a squad of medieval fools who were looking to get their asses handed to them, and I was willing to oblige. However, shortly after that, we ended up getting a separate raid from the Blue Vole, whatever the hell they're called, so we now have 2 raids. That's it. Time to put on my game face. Naturally, we begin with raid number 1. We moved in as fast as lightning and began firing at the fools with our minigun arm. After defeating them, it was now time for raid number 2. Plek once again began blindly firing his minigun into the tree line, hoping to God that he would hit someone. Unfortunately though, they all became very close quarters with us, and we had to beat the absolute shit out of them until we killed most of them, except for one who we decided to enslave. Oh, how I wish I could tell you that we would much rather recruit them than enslave them, but enslaving this medieval fool brought Plek's little bionic heart much joy. We allowed Ray to equip anything that she wished except for weapons and armor, obviously, and then she went outside to build herself a little wooden tent. And then just like that, day 25 was finally upon us. It was time for a boss battle. For this quarter of the 100 days, our custom boss battle was 2 hunters. They were not animal hunters though, they were cyborg hunters with plasteel equipment, dual-wielding crossbows and plasteel swords, all the good stuff. We began in an epic firefight with the crossbow-wielding huntress. It was epic in terms of me using a minigun against her, and she was actually a pretty intimidating opponent, so much so that we had to use our low shield pack. Lucky for us though, a few bullets from the old minigun arm done the trick, and then we moved on to the other hunter. It would appear that this hunter had an allergy to arrows, and after one stuck him right in the gullet, he ended up dying. Unfortunately for the huntress, she was still alive, so we stripped her of her belongings and brought her all the way back home so that we could try and enslave her. We'd also began working on our town quite a bit, building plenty of walls, and we were also doing plenty of hunting with the old minigun arm, as it is a wonderful tool for doing such things. Jesus, I don't even know what the hell I'm talking about half the time. Move! Moving on though, we finally ended up enslaving the Huntress, who is named Nikki, and she would make a wonderful forced addition to our team. But she was staggeringly ugly, so we forced her to put on a mask. I mean, for the love of God, just look at... Oh God, look at her. Oh God. Sometime later though, we ended up discovering a hunting work site not too far from home, and we thought, what would it be like if we went there, murdered all those people, and took all their food for winter? So we wanted to find out. Sometime later, we ended up arriving at this hunting work site, and it was nothing too impressive and was definitely nothing that we couldn't handle. The three of us strategized and planned our attack in the corner of the map just before we attempted to infiltrate the hunting work site. As the hunters began flowing forth from their little hunting cabin, we began raining hellfire on them in the form of minigun bullets and crossbow arrows. They had plenty of dead animals and plenty of pemmican for us. This was quite the bounty. After returning home, we began working very hard on our base to spruce the place up just before an angry tree awoken and started kicking the shit out of everyone. This angry tree monster was apparently very upset that we were cutting down the ancient trees of the forest or some hippy-dippy bullshit baloney. It broke into our cabin and beat the hell out of Nikki just before it began attacking Plek once again. And I'll be the first to tell you that this tree guy was one big old bitch. But just like that, kaboom! We shot the bark off his big ass. We came back home and started tending to Ray and Nikki, who were still alive even after that serious beatdown. And I'm assuming that the attack from the giant tree monster made Plek and Ray kinda lustful, because apparently the two of them became lovers even though it was forbidden. I mean, it wasn't really forbidden, I just didn't have a way to put them both in the same sleeping spot, yeah. But hey, look at that, it is now day 50. We are halfway through the 100 days challenge. But you know what that means, it's time for another bangin' boss battle, baby boy. Wait a minute, you are a boy, right? Yeah, you probably are. But of course, it is finally time for the boss battle. As mentioned, we have a giant lindworm. It's a big old snake in my opinion, and we got a little crossbowman that is the snake's little buddy or something, or maybe the handler of the giant snake. I don't know. Either way, we are about to smoke their asses. Or so he thought. No, but for real though, this lindworm giant snake thing is actually extremely tough, even stronger than the giant tree hippie beast. Luckily though, the snake ran away after we pelted it with bullets, at least for a period of time. It would eventually come back and begin attacking us once again as we were fighting the crossbowmen. After it slithered back into our town and began beating the hell out of all of our friends, Plek had to leave, because if he didn't run away, it too would beat the shit out of him and kill him. Luckily though, we shot it enough times that it began running away once again, and then the only enemy we had to deal with was its crossbow handler, who we promptly managed to knock to the ground, and then we whipped out our sword and began spanking him on the ass a few times. He apparently had a very tender little buttocks, because after a few spankings he ended up dying. We then decided to return back to our town, where we found all of our friends. They're both dead. Oh well, it happens. We all die at some point, so we dug some shallow holes with a little snow on top to bury them. After this, Plek is what you might call depressed. So he decided to play a riveting game of dice in a cup. After he finally got done playing his little game for days on end in the dining hall, he ended up going to an item stash nearby in a river. But this item stash was not just in any river, it was in a shitty, polluted, disgusting river, which made things better? I don't know, man. The ground looked like dried up beef jerky that sat in the sun for too long, so I don't know. But we did enter the item stash, and within we actually found a lot of items. There was plenty of clothing. There was also some decent armor. We headed home after that, and we were as happy as can be, except for the fact that we were extremely alone. And unfortunately, here comes the part that everyone's going to be pissed about. I forgot to do a boss battle on day 75, and I didn't realize that I had forgot until I came back and started editing this video when I added this very nice note for myself. So I'm sorry about that, but on the bright side, a little while later we ended up having a raid. I know it's not the same, okay? I'm trying. Now lucky for us though, these raiders just so happened to be a bunch of candy-eating pansy asses, so they decided to strategize before attacking our base, giving us ample opportunity to sneak in and start killing them. We used our minigun arm as well as the hand cannon thing that we found in the item stash, which was basically just a big shotgun. It was amazing. thing. Unfortunately though, the range on it was not amazing, so there were plenty of close calls where they got in and started beating the hell out of us. Eventually though, after slaughtering 2, 3, maybe even 4 of the candy-eating pansy-ass raiders, we ended up killing enough of them that they decided to flee like the pansies that they were. Unfortunately though, during that raid, we ended up sustaining some irreversible damage that I will not tell you about right now. It's a secret, I'll tell you in the future. But for a good bit of time, we decided to just kind of work around our base, grow some crops, build some paths, you know, that kind of stuff. At one point, we ended up having a quest called the Salvation of Brandy. Basically, a medieval person named Brandy would join us here if we would fight off the raiders chasing her, so we naturally accepted because we were very lonely. Just after Brandy had arrived, we ended up having the raiders who were trying to chase her down and stick a pitchfork through her gullet arrive as well, and they wanted to do the same thing to us naturally. We were outnumbered by the raiders, but those damn dirty raiders were outgunned. Or should I say out crossbowed? No, we had a gun too though. Now of course for this raid we had to run away from our base because being so outnumbered we didn't really have an easy way of killing them. Luckily though, with the mod Run and Gun, we were running and gunning constantly and we were able to defeat them. But I hear one of you viewers in the comment section right now, but Rat Knight, Run and Gun makes it too easy. Run and Gun's basically cheating. Ha, yeah, I know, and that's why I'm doing it, because I suck. If it helps you sleep at night, this very last raider, we didn't run away while shooting at them. We stood still as they were injured, and we shot at them. Still kind of cheaty, but I don't know. And since Plek was ever so lonely still, and he was dying to replace the 2 friends that he had lost, he decided to enslave this person. That way we would have 2 more friends. And yes, it would be a fair point to make the case that if Plek enslaves this person, they're not technically his friend, but you know, I mean, the same case could be made that you need to shut your damn mouth. But now it's time for me to reveal the secret. What was the irreversible damage, Rat Knight? Well, dear viewer, our minigun arm ended up getting destroyed in one of the previous raids, so unfortunately this means we're basically just a walking tin can that can swing a sword with its left arm. Still pretty intimidating, I might add. And of course we still have all of our bionic body parts that will protect us, but this did make me realize we need to work hard on our defenses for the final 100 days raid. I will also say for anyone that may have been upset that I might have accidentally forgot the 75-day raid, well, the 100th day is much, much worse, so I didn't do it on purpose, like I didn't make it worse on purpose because of that, but it might make you feel better, I don't know. We decided that we would use rock chunks as cover since we had so many of them. Of course, we made plenty of spike traps, and we also decided to dig a lot of trenches to try and entrench our enemies, if you will. At one point during all the defense building, though, we managed to recruit Dunn, who was the one person that tried to kill us previously, and then we decided to enslave them. Yeah, turns out I was completely wrong. We weren't enslaving him at all. We were recruiting him. Huzzah! He really is our friend. We had Dunn here help us out with building some embrasures in our wooden walls. Now, I really wanted to do some castle walls, but we didn't have them researched just yet, and honestly I had forgot about it, and we didn't have enough time to do it now. However, these wooden embrasures allow us to shoot through them just as well as stone, so they'll have to do. But before the 100th day, Plek explained that he wanted to sit down and have a good old-fashioned family meal together, just the 3 of them. Finally, we have friends. No, nay, we have a family. We could all sit and enjoy each other's company. This is the happiest that Plek's been since the 2 other friends that he had died. I mean, before they died. I mean, he was pretty happy when they died as well. He's a little bit of a psychopath. But my dear friends, we have finally done it. We have made it to 100 days in medieval RimWorld as a cyborg. We're a little bit less of a cyborg, seeing how they tore off our minigun arm and shoved it up our own metallic pooper, but we're still a cyborg nonetheless. We ended up having a very large raid from the House of Hesse or Hess, or some way that you pronounce a word that I cannot do. And within this raid, we're family members, but not only that, we also had all of these raiders wearing plasteel armor with plasteel equipment, and they had 2 large lindworm snake creature beasts with them as well. Basically what I'm trying to get at here is we're screwed. And unfortunately I am correct in this prediction. As the raiders began coming at us, the massive snake creatures began coming through our walls. We fought as hard as we could. We tried to attack the beast with our crossbows and our hand cannon thing, and when that didn't work we got in close for some melee, but in the end we ended up losing because that damn dirty beast was far too powerful for us to handle alone. Luckily we ended up bringing in our backup, our 2 friends, but the snake thing also had quite a few friends of its own, and we all got downed. The raiders decided that they were going to attempt to kidnap whoever they could, which meant that they were going to kidnap Pleck's big iron ass as well. Lucky for us though, we were playing on good old Cassandra Classic, Blood and Dust, and she gave us a man in black with 2 revolvers. Yeah, I know it's not medieval, but I wanted to try and save Pleck before they could take him off to the junkyard and sell him for scrap metal. Because the absolute last thing that we wanted to happen to Pleck and his expensive bionics was for him to become a soda can. Eventually though, we did end up saving Pleck. I'm not gonna lie to you though, it was actually kind of hard. That guy in his plasteel armor, he took quite a few shots from those revolvers, which was fairly impressive. But I just want to say that I hope you guys have very much enjoyed this video. I had a lot of fun playing this one. It was a little bit boring in the beginning, I'm not gonna lie. Playing as a cyborg in medieval RimWorld is fairly easy. The minigun arm was probably, the only thing bad about that I would say is the accuracy was absolute dog shit. Pleck had a pretty good shooting skill, but the actual accuracy of the arm was horrible, so it was very hard to hit enemies, but when we did, we basically instantly killed them after a few bullets. So that, you know, I mean, it was fun, but it was also a little too easy in the beginning, but I thought it'd be a cool little idea. But if you guys have any suggestions or anything for videos or mods or anything you'd like to see me use in a 100 days video or any videos in general, be sure to let me know in the comment section down below. I do try to read all the comments. Even if I don't respond to all of them, I'm definitely attempting my best to try and read them all, so I really appreciate you guys, though I love you ever so much, and be sure if you haven't already to like and subscribe and all that junk, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye, guys.